Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Rocky, the fourth one. And this movie came out in 1985, and it's directed by Sylvester Stallone. And I used to watch this movie a lot when I was younger. There were still parts about it that stuck out to me as being not great, but I still enjoyed it when I was young. Rewatching it, though, from a basic standpoint and summarizing my overall thoughts on it, I like the first half much more than I like the second half. The first half, I would say, is kind of solid and a good movie. The second half is really goofy and ridiculous and just becomes almost a so bad it's good movie, and it really changes the feel of the movie because once we get into the second half of the movie, or even before that to some extent, this movie very much feels like a whole bunch of music videos featuring Rocky Balboa. And it's really weird. It's almost like an anime, especially in the way it's edited together. And there's lots of freeze frames in this movie, and then it will cross-dissolve into the next scene. And it feels like an anime to me, honestly. Like it's something I would see not so much in any one of these movies. And there were freeze frames before, but not nearly as many as this movie does. And the third one, while I wouldn't say it was great, I would say it's better than this movie, but I find this one to be more entertaining than the third movie, to be honest. And part of that has to do with me kind of laughing at the movie in the second half. There's some really funny moments. The things that I like about Rocky IV, I like the characters. I think that they are good characters, or at least the ones that they brought back from the previous movies. The new characters in this movie I don't really like all that much. The villain of the film, I thought he was kind of forgettable, and honestly, he's not really what I'm thinking about when I think of the movie. I'm mostly thinking about the first half and Apollo Creed. I think he's the best part of the movie. He's really, honestly, the best character in the movie, and you really understand what drives him to go forward with what he wants to do. And it's like fighting, that's what he wants to do, even though he's getting older. And there's literally a line in the movie that is basically a flashback to the third movie where he says, "It's too bad we gotta get old," which is kind of funny, but true. And in this movie, it kind of explores that, and, well, kind of, not really, but it explores it enough to where you understand what he wants to do. It's just, boxing is what he wants to do. What keeps him alive, and it's who he is. And even though he may not be the best anymore, he at least is able to do what he loves, and I thought that was very interesting to me. Now I'm going to talk about some things that I didn't like in the movie. The child performances I didn't think were very good. I just didn't believe their characters, to be honest. And they were definitely the worst part of the movie, if not one of the worst parts of the movie. Another thing that I didn't really enjoy all that much was the end fight. And I don't really consider this a spoiler that there's a boxing match at the end of the film, because every movie before this one has done that, or at least in this franchise. And compared to the movies that came before, it's really not that exciting and engaging compared to the first two especially, and even the third one. I criticized the third movie for being kind of weak in its third act, but I honestly prefer it over this one. It was just really goofy, and it was probably because it was a music video with like really weird editing choices and like really weird zooms. And when Rocky punches Draco, it cuts to Duke going like, yes. And honestly, that was one of the funniest parts of the movie for me, unintentionally funny. I'll give this movie some credit that it doesn't really waste any time, unlike the third movie where it was kind of wasting time and I was getting a little impatient with what was going on. Here, it's much faster, and they don't really focus on characters that much in terms of their relationships and Polly and Adrian, they have a decent amount of screen time, but there isn't really much to them that's new. And that's about all I have to say about Rocky IV. It's kind of a guilty pleasure for me. I'm never bored while watching it, but just because a movie is entertaining throughout doesn't mean it's a good movie. And I enjoyed about half of it. Unironically, I think the first half is solid, whereas the second half, it's pretty goofy and stupid, and while it's entertaining, it's just not that good, to be perfectly honest. And I'll still rewatch this movie along with the others. I do feel as though it's a continuation and a part of this story, and while it's not exactly the most satisfying in the entire series, at least from the ones I've seen, I still haven't seen 5 or 6 yet. I do feel as though it has a purpose, and you should at least watch it in order to at least somewhat complete it. If you've watched all the way up to the movies that I've talked about on this channel already, I've talked about 1, 2, 3, and this one. And I've reviewed Creed 2 already. But that's all there is to it. It's entertaining, it's kind of fun, kind of bad. With all that being said, I'm going to give Rocky IV a 5 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of Rocky IV down below. And my social media links, they will all be in the description down below, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation. And I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Austin Powers, the second one, The Spy Who Shagged Me. I've only seen the first one, and I've reviewed it on my channel already. But until I get my review up for the second Austin Powers movie, thank you for watching, and have a great day.